Hello everyone, welcome to the Corporate Talk. Today I have a little bit of a different video where I'm not interviewing no one, but I'm here to share my experience passing through the PMI PfMP certification. The advanced certification of PMI for portfolio management. Here I brought my tips because I have seen during my study time for this certification, I have seen a lot of videos. Some of them help, some of them are very dangerous that talks about not studying. And I would like to share my experience and my tip for you if you want to pass through this exam. So first of all, a major topic is about the motivation. What are the reasons why you want to run through the certification? In my case, it's something I was already willing to do since many years, as I have more than 10 years experience in portfolio management, in innovation, and then currently in product portfolio. It's something I had always in my mind, this motivation, personal motivation to certify something that I work since many years. And this motivation, I think this is the great key for you to motivate you, dedicate time for preparing yourself. Because the PMI certification is a self-study period. So it's a period that you have to discipline yourself and to feel motivated to dedicate hours of your day to prepare for the test. It's a very intense test, so in the end it's 4 hours test that you're allowed to do with 170 questions, and this is pretty intense. They say normally that 150 are the questions that are going to be really relevant for your certification. 20 of them are not bringing any points, but you don't know which ones are there. So I would say you have to prepare for 170 questions, and it's very intense. So in the end, I ran with 3 hours and a half. I marked some questions that I wasn't sure that I could go back in the last 30 minutes. But it's 4 hours that you have to concentrate. You cannot drink water. The time won't stop if you need to go to the bathroom. So what I did was during the period of study that I will explain what I did in my with more details. I trained more than 10 times. I did more than 10 mock tests on my weekends or my evenings for this test, without water, without bathroom, already prepared for being 4 hours dedicated just to the test. It's possible. You just have to train yourself. And I think the toughest part for me is the concentration, because after 2 hours, my mind goes away and I couldn't concentrate. I had to read 3 times, sometimes the questions, to really go back to this concentration mode for the test. And yeah, so here are some relevant tips for you. So first of all is the preparation time. So when I decided to apply for the test, it was October. I'm in Germany. So it was starting the beginning of winter, and I think it's the very important time because you don't want to be outside. It's raining, it's cold, so it was easier to say, okay, this weekend I will dedicate to study and make mock tests, and this helped a lot. So find your best timing of the year that you know you can dedicate some months as preparation. Some people say that in 2 months you are able to make the test. To be honest, I wanted to be in the safe side, so I registered myself in September. I was approved to make the test in October. And as you know, when you subscribe and you're approved, you have 1 year that you're allowed to book the test. So I decided to book in March of the next year. So then I have a good timing of preparation. What I did wrong and I didn't realize is that between September and December, December, I was having an intensive German classes at the same time. And then I had 6 hours a week of those classes in the evening, and I needed to mix my time between German studies, homework, and PMI, and this wasn't good. So I don't recommend that you mix two things. Dedicate to one, it's much better. So my German classes ended in the beginning of December, and that was much better because then I can fully dedicate to PMI. Second, so try to figure out, still in this first step about preparation time, about how many hours you have per day or the weekends to dedicate. So I run all the content of the PMI topics, everything inside here, the standard. I dedicated to 4th edition because this is 24, so this is the edition that is open for it. We have the PMBOK guide. This is pretty intense and big. So here I didn't read much, but 2 times. But the most important for the PMBOK is in the end phase, where you have all the tools in more details, which tools you should use for what. Here, there are a lot of questions on the test about that. And in the standard, what I did, I selected, you see there are a lot of marks and a lot of I just blocked some post-its here as well. So I can really highlight the topics that I need to study more or make deep dives. And with all of this content in hand, what I did was to split that in time. So what I'm going to read, what I'm going to study, when, how many hours, and which day. So then I can already bring on my calendar, and then I close my calendar just for that. I was a little bit tougher, so I didn't went out with friends. I postponed travels because I really wanted to dedicate this time for that. During the days of the week, it's pretty tough with work. And after work, I'm very tired. Even that I try to put a lot of content after work for reading, I was sleeping with my book, with a book on my hand. So it was pretty tough. So for me, the weekends were the most important and the most relevant for study, because you need to have energy, you need to have concentration, you need to have really these disciplines. On the weekends were much better. I can imagine in summertime might be harder. That's why I mentioned about wintertime. If you depend on where you are, it's much better that our mindset is more focused of staying cozy, staying at home, being in the sofa, getting a cup of coffee or a tea and laying down in the sofa with a book. So find good materials to read. This is the second topic I would like to share here. So in the standard for portfolio management, I read around 4 times each topic. I highlight the important ones. Of course, as a first premise, you have to have experience with portfolio. This is already the first step that they evaluate your profile. They check your CV, they check your answers in the questionnaire they give to you. So you have already experience. So when you read, you validate these standards. You said, oh, I did this in that job or in that project in that case, or I did something else in another moment of my career. So then you can already realize that. So this is very important because experience counts a lot. A lot of questions in the test are about real cases. So you have a story case, a study case, and you're in this company and this happens. What would you do? Which tools would you use? So it's very important that you associate that with the challenges you had or your experiences. So this is the most important. The third topic is the mock tests. This was very important and critical for me because once you read the book, you associate the content. If you have a lot of experience, so this is nothing new. I understand that, so it will be easy. But in the mock test, you learn which type of questions are addressed in the PMI certification. So I mentioned I did around more than 10 times mocks. I bought a book on Amazon. I can also post the link here. There's some typo mistakes in this book, but I think in the end it helped a lot to understand the type of questions, especially about tools and techniques. So we have the ITO, the inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs. And it was really important for me to associate my learnings into a mock, a real mock. And this is what I recommend to you. Dedicate lots of time and the mocks, not to validate how bad you are, but what you need to learn for the test. I started making mocks and making 50% right. And I was very worried and a bit sad, but then I used that to learn what am I doing wrong and why, and then I go back to the book and learn and dedicate for that. A lot of people talk about the Ginger book, and the recension is not good in the internet, but actually what I did with that material, I use it as a study material, not as a mock itself. So then I also will bring links here of mock tests I did in the internet. Some of them are good, cheap, some of them are expensive. About all the expenses for the PMI is very important. I did it by myself. I didn't had any support from the company because I also didn't ask for it. It's something I have in my private goals already since many years, so I wanted to dedicate myself. If a company would pay, I think I would have even more pressure, psychological pressure that I need to be approved. As it's my money, I thought, well, I will try, I will risk. I had already this money separated for that, and this was my bigger goal. But careful, there are lots of mentors in the internet that you can search for help, and they are more expensive than the PMI certification itself. So I paid in euros around 900 euros for applying for the certification. I asked for a discount because I'm part of the PMI now. I'm a PMI member and you can have discounts. But the mentors I found in the internet, they're very good. I'm sure they can help you go faster for the tests, but they charge you more than 1,000 euros, $1,000. And this is a lot of money, especially if you're paying it privately, it's a lot of money. I think they charge this value because the companies normally pay and the companies need to have somebody certified. So maybe that's the case, but it's not my case. It's my money. So then I decided to do it by my own, to study by my own. So very important is the material you find. So I will give here the links. I did the mock tests, the book I bought, the mock, and I really dedicate this mock as is in the test. 4 hours dedicated, closed room, just focus on the test. Well, I would say the very important topic. So you have the material, you have the mocks, you need to organize your time and your agenda and your calendar for that. And then you have to balance your health, your mental health, your body health, because it's very intensive and it can generate lots of stress. One day before the test, I was so stressed that I got my book and I was thinking, oh, I need to read more than that, when I realized it was already 1 a.m. in the morning and I needed to wake up at 5 to go for the test. So I don't recommend that. If you're very well prepared, take the last day to relax and try to really stay with your mind really relaxed and comfortable. I know it's pretty tough. I'm not that type. I'm very stressed by myself. I'm very focused on what I need to do, and that troubles my sleep. So my recommendation, you need to be relaxed in the test. I was very, very tired during the 4 hours. This is not good, very risky, especially for concentration. And yeah, I learned about meditation. So before some mock tests I did at home, I did some meditations and that guided meditation, and that helped a lot because then you're very relaxed, very focused, your mindset is focused, and then you can smoothly run the mocks. That's what I recommend also before the real test, to make a guided meditation, something that you can concentrate your mind and feel relaxed, easy down, and then go for it. Before the test, they ask you when go to the bathroom, have a water. I recommend do it because then during the test you don't have this trouble of, oh, I need to go to the bathroom, because they won't stop the time. They won't stop. Yeah, in my case, with my concentration issues, I had 3.5 hours of dedicated to the whole test. So I would say if I go to the bathroom, I would be even more worried about, oh my God, I need to finish the test. So I would say go before, so then you can be more relaxed about this during the time. Yeah, so these were my major tips I collected here to help you. I hope it's valid, and please let me know your experience with the PMI PfMP. I'm glad also to exchange, to learn from your side, and please write a comment that I can know more about how is your experience about that. So thank you, and see you next time.